This week in the parish of Bourses and market structure, loft off. ASX wobbles, DB1 meh, Coinbase. DB1 adds liquidity, and there's an Indian courtroom update. My name is Patrick L. Young. Welcome to the Bourse Business Weekly Digest. It's the Exchange Invest Weekly Podcast, episode 333. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is a very brief reduction of highlights amongst the key headlines from the week in market structure. All the analysis of the many events and happenings for the past 7 days can be found in Exchange Invest's daily subscriber newsletter, the unique guide to the Bourse business sent daily to your inbox. More details at exchangeinvest.com. Over in BitCarnage, a drop of $666 million might worry some about crypto and coin in particular, but not their investor relations spiel. The headline running from Coinbase: Coinbase delivers on Q4 financial outlook, doubles total trading volume and crypto trading volume market share in 2025. That despite the fact that the company managed a net loss of $667 million. According to CEO Brian Armstrong, the Everything Exchange is working. If you enjoyed this excerpt, you may be interested to know you can read BitCarnage every day in Exchange Invest. Alternatively, if you want to follow BitCarnage, the daily update on happenings in the world of crypto and digital assets, you can find BitCarnage as a standalone on Substack. Over in the world of primary exchanges, finally some movement at the ASX as the chosen departee amongst the C-suite is CEO Helen Lofthouse, who has been incompetent, but then again, can anybody really finger any clearly capable figures in the C-suite of ASX? Her departure marks a start, albeit we've been here before. Reboots have been numerous, successes, to put it charitably, not so much. All the pith and insight behind this story was in Exchange Invest this week. Sign up for a subscription, stay ahead of the Bourse business by reading the Exchange of Information.
Thanks for listening to Exchange Invest Weekly. We welcome your feedback. You can contact me directly, patrick@derivativesvision.com, with any comments. Meanwhile, if you enjoyed this show, we would welcome you giving us a thumbs up. Or, if you have time, a positive review will always be welcome, wherever you find this podcast.
Elsewhere, a poison chalice for new equity options market entries in India, while CME made a move to launch single stock futures under their own auspices. In India, IEX lost another court case to defend their now lost de facto monopoly, while NSE had a win which helps progress their IPO plans. Korea Exchange, they acquired Fair Labs, driving AI shift across their operations. In Busan, Seoul, KRX made their first acquisition in 70 years as a business. And there's more, including the first IceClear dated product from their prediction market investment and useful NASDAQ private market indices too. That CME single stock futures launch reminds us that One Chicago was born on May 14, 2001 and died in September 2020, broadly strangled by a relatively stringent set of margin rules, which had been created by, amongst others, Bill Brodsky-Sibo to defend their options monopoly before Bill did a backflip and became a key holder of One Chicago alongside CME and CBOT, in those days separate entities. Now CME is going it alone with cash-settled futures, which presumably it feels confident it can self-certify and add to its clearinghouse. Back in the day, parishioners may record, myself, PLY, along with Richard Sander and the late great Sir Brian Williamson, as some of the only voices advocating for single stock futures out of their Renaissance origins in Hong Kong at the Hong Kong Futures Exchange. Can they finally go mainstream in the USA, or will the margin issue, invertedly concocted via CBO in the Brodsky era, continue to plague the product? 6x leverage to stock is touted on the CME SSF webpage. Again, all the pith here was in Exchange Invest Daily. Over at the LSEG, how long do we have to wait until the mainstream media catch up with PLY's perma opposite point? The LSEG CEO is the epitome of out of his depth Dave. They're under pressure right now, fighting against the tide, according to the Times. And Gong Xi Fa Chai to all our readers celebrating the Lunar New Year this week. Carlson Tong, chairman of the Hong Kong Exchanges, noting that they're going to be going full throttle in the new year of the fire horse. IPO-bound National Stock Exchange of India is reprieved in some way, shape or form after managing to fight off a fresh legal snag. And at the same time, while surviving that court hurdle, the IEX, the Indian Energy Exchange, had a setback as they were knocked back once again on their attempts to establish the de facto monopoly they once enjoyed. Over in Korea, Next Trade and the Korea Exchange have managed to win the nod for STO platforms. The KDX consortium was led by the Korea Exchange, and the next consortium led by alternative trading platform Next Trade. They're going to be licensed operating STO platforms for fractionalized stock. It was a busy week for results in the parish. All the details were on Exchange Invest Daily, the newsletter no person can afford to be without in capital markets and market structure. For the sake of this podcast, let's look at some edited highlights. Deutsche Börse, meh. Net revenue plus 2%. Net profit minus 3%. 2025 net revenue plus 3%. 2025 net profit plus 3%. Clearly relying on the EU to prop up their monopoly and managing via McKinsey consultancies doesn't cut it in the modern age. Utter mediocrity from DB1, where the one truly dynamic executive, Peter Wrights, is departing, having built up EX, and everything else looks utterly average at best. We mentioned the Coinbase results earlier on. Losing a number equivalent to that of the beast in biblical jargon may lead some to conspiracy theories, while the chutzpah of saying delivers while plunging to such staggering loss is very crypto bro, I suppose. Over in deals, it was a busy week for deals in the parish. All the deals were in Exchange Invest Daily, the newsletter no person can afford to be without in capital markets and market structure. For the sake of this podcast, a couple of edited highlights alongside the KRX investment in Fair Labs mentioned earlier. Deutsche Börse are buying General Atlantic's stake in ISS stocks for $1.3 billion. So that means with the IPO presumably DOA, as AI is eating this conflict of interest machine's lunch, the management conclusion is double down. For more successful discussions in the parish, let's move to our NASDAQ-sponsored segment. Welcome to a NASDAQ-sponsored segment. Investor appetite for Asia is rising, but post-trade friction is holding markets back. In the new NASDAQ and Value Exchange study, 25% of participants plan to grow exposure, yet 46% face artificial trading limits. The biggest pain point? Corporate actions. 60% report high error rates and 39% of platforms are still legacy. The fix is clear. Harmonize rules, standardize workflows, modernize technology in order to unlock efficiencies in settlement and corporate actions. For exchange leaders ready to scale, download Creating Asia's post-trade operating model of tomorrow at bit.ly, that's bit.ly/APAC-post-trade. That's APAC-post-trade, all one word, at bit.ly. Meanwhile, if you fancy some financial insights with moving pictures, check out our live stream, Tuesdays 5 o'clock London, 12 o'clock midday New York time, the IPO video live show. Catch the back episodes on LinkedIn and YouTube via IPO-VID. Now online, IPO-VID 202, Tech Money, a guide to the new game of technology investing with our excellent guest, Igor Pajic. And coming this week, we're going to be live discussing the future of market tech, specifically predicting the future of market tech with Connemara EP3's Dan Davis. Our book of the week this week, Technical Analysis in the Active Trader by Gary Norden, exposes the flaws and unreliability of technical analysis. Gary shows how and why traders will struggle to be profitable using charts and indicators. Our next book of the week will be unveiled Saturday in the EI Weekend Edition. And don't forget, if you want all the news on the Bourse business sent daily to your inbox, subscribe to Exchange Invest via exchangeinvest.com. It's only $499 per annum to join the exchange of information. Product news: Energy Exchange Electronics has launched its first direct access US power derivatives for intraday volatility. Powered by Connemara EP3, Electronics is a fascinating new development which demonstrates the quasi-endless potential for the electricity energy complex to generate new and useful pricing and hedging tools. Elsewhere, Nasdaq are launching new private capital indexes, expanding their private capital solutions platform, an excellent suite of indexes to deliver more coherence and transparency around private markets. There was a fascinating data announcement this week as a pending IPO candidate exchange Kraken announced. Kraken is integrating with ICE Chat, expanding institutional OTC access. So many ramifications from this announcement for the future of data. of data terminals, and even crypto markets themselves. Also, ICE have launched polymarket signals and sentiment tools, churning crowdsourced dynamic views into market opportunities. The inevitable spin-off, which would be elemental to the ICE acquisition of a stake in Polymarket. And at multi-decade, I told you so, PLY notes this was a reason he was pioneering this stuff. Prediction markets, first as advocate, then as an intrade GSX co-founder 3 decades back. The data here is fabulous and backed by real money. That makes it so much more useful than mere opinions. Over in regulation, the blob continues its battle to stop the prediction markets, sensing a threat to their state gambling revenues. The CFTC struck back with an amicus brief or two in defence of their right to regulate markets, which until very recently they had themselves eschewed at CFTC. Meanwhile, in India, that interesting position for exchanges adopted by SEBI as various parties seek to enter the cash and stock options markets. Bring your own cash liquidity, then you can add options. SEBI can always be relied upon to produce some fascinating twists on regulatory licensing. Over in Career Path, Laura Bailey has been appointed Eurex Clearing AG's CEO. And the crypto exchange Kraken, an interesting move pre-IPO, has fired their CFO, Stephanie Lemmerman. Not a good look leading into an IPO, with crypto markets looking a lot less sound than they did previously, as we told you they were likely to. Firing CFO is often the kind of thing that gets mentioned in investor due diligence. Over in Big World some time ago, PLY expounded on the importance of K-pop, noting that one modest segment of its sector of the Korean entertainment economy was in and of itself worth somewhere between 15 to 25% of the entire economy of North Korea. There's scant evidence the DPRK has been enjoying a vast economic bubble of late, whereas K-pop is flourishing. Indeed, K-pop Demon Hunters, that classic crossover movie that placed the whole genre in the cultural global mainstream, celebrated no fewer than 500 million views on Netflix in the run-up to Christmas. The chances the festive season was not also golden is about as plausible as suggesting soda pop was the global beverage of choice on New Year's Eve. And on that mysterious and magnificent note, thank you for listening to this EI Weekly Podcast 333. Join us daily via exchangeovest.com, or if you have any exchange you'd like built, get in touch. My name is Patrick L. Young, and I wish you a great week in life and markets.
This show relates to the business of Bourses. It is not to be construed as investment advice, nor are we making any investment recommendations. Please consult an investment advisor before you make any investments, and for goodness sake, do your due diligence and do not make investments without complying with the regulations in your home state. Exchange Invest cannot be held responsible for any investment decisions made as a result of our program, which is for entertainment purposes only. The material herein is copyright Patrick L. Young at the date of publication, while our music and sound effects are sourced from copyright-free sources. Thanks for listening to Exchange Invest Weekly, the exchange of information.